Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about focal lengths, and this is not my camera. This is my buddy Alex's camera. He just lent it to me for like a couple of minutes to shoot with since he has a zoom lens on. I have two prime lenses, so it's tough and they're fairly similar, so that's why I decided to borrow my friend Alex's 5D Mark IV with a 24 and 105 millimeter. I'm gonna use this and see the different focal lengths and show you guys how the 24 versus a 105 looks different when you shoot cars specifically. So it's gonna be different, so let's take some shots with this and I'll show you guys the difference between these two focal lengths. These two shots right here, one of them shot in the 24 millimeter and the other one shot in the 105. Right away you could tell the difference. The one on the left is blown out because I had a hard time trying to figure out the shutter speed and I was in a rush, so it's a little bit blown out. But regardless, you could see the difference. Right away, the compression on the right is way more noticeable than on the left. So on the 105, you get a lot more blurry background and it looks more pleasant. The car doesn't look massive in size and it works well with the background. While on the left, you get a lot more car and a lot more background. You can't say this is a stylistic option, but I think overall the shot on the right looks better even though the left is blown out. But if the shot on the left with the 24 millimeter focal length was properly exposed, I think the 105 millimeter focal length picture looks better in this specific picture. Now the second angle shots, this was shot in portrait mode. I don't know why I shot it in portrait mode. Maybe I'm too used to shooting cars portrait mode to post on Instagram. But regardless, this is shot in portrait mode and this is less noticeable, definitely. I had to back up a lot to get the 918 Spider in frame while I was shooting in the 105 focal length. I had a hard time and still I didn't even get the whole car in the frame. Now these shots, one thing that I found out right away is that there's a little bit of vignetting on the right picture compared to the left picture. If you look at the right picture, there is a little bit of vignetting around the right and then the bottom towards the car. You can see a little bit darker than the picture on the left. I don't know exactly why, but this is probably because due to, again, the longer focal length and how it changes and alters the image. But again, you could tell pretty easily that there is a lot more car on the wider angle than compared to the 105 focal length. The car takes a lot more space. It's a little wider because it's the focal length that you're shooting at compared to the right. It's a little more balanced in some ways, and the people look a lot larger in the 105 focal length than the 24 focal length. The 24 millimeter focal lengths, the people look very small compared to the 105. So as you guys can see from the 918 shots, the 24 and 105 makes a large difference. I mean, I needed to get used to it. 24 is so wide. Alex is behind the camera, but like you can see, like,
hi guys.
But the 24 is really wide, right? The 24 is really wide compared to the 105, so you have to step a lot more back to get the 105 in frame. And the difference between the 24 and 105 is the compression that you get when you're at like the 105 angle. You get a lot more blurriness. The depth of field is a lot more shown. So they all have their own like strengths, I guess. 24. You don't have to be so back. You get the whole frame. But the good thing about the 105 is you get that compression, and the detail shots is what the 105 is mainly going to be used for. Okay, in conclusion, the use of focal lengths is all relative. If you don't have that much space behind you and you can't step back further away, it's probably best to use a wide angle to get at your subject all in frame. So if you're shooting a car, right, and then there's like a wall behind you and you have a wide angle, when you have a zoom lens like a 24 to 105 that I just used here, it's probably best to use around the 24mm range to get all your subject in frame. Now, if you have a lot more room behind you, you have that flexibility. You can use those very longer focal lengths like the 105 if you want to. And then the pros to it is that you get a depth of field, and there's not much con except for that you don't have that much room to play with if you don't have much room behind you. So you need to have a controlled area, I would say, or like a lot of space behind you to use that long of a focal length. Maybe because I'm used to my 24mm and my 45mm, and that's not such a big change. This 24 to 105 felt such a huge difference. So for those of you guys who have those focal lengths in play, just take advantage of it. Like there's so many different shots I could have gotten with the 105 that I would have never gotten with my 24 and my 45. So take advantage of it, but you always have to be aware that if you don't have much room behind you, you can't use those very long focal lengths. And also, you also have to take in consideration that in the longer focal lengths like the 105, if there's a lot of movement and if your lens is not really stabilized, there's going to be some shakiness, so you're going to have to increase your shutter speed on that. So it's all relative, and as you shoot more, you're going to get better for those beginners that are just starting out with car photography. If you guys have those focal lengths, just know that you have to be aware of your surroundings, and you have to be aware of sort of the little details, aware of the shakiness that you get from the longer focal lengths, the compression that if you want it, that you'll get in the longer focal lengths. So always think of that, and you'll figure it out if you keep shooting. It just sort of acts as a muscle memory if you keep on shooting. So that is my video for today. Hope you guys got something out of it. It was a lot of me talking, but I think this information can be very useful for beginners, people who just start out in the car photography game or photography in general. Like, this information can be useful for you guys. So if you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.